Let me know when. All right, we made it. 1491. This is the live community smoke. This is something that we've kind of done in the past, but not really. And then a couple of the members, including my main man, Saran, said, we need to do this. This is something that people want. So here we are. We're going to introduce a new product. It's called 1491. I think some of you understand the premise behind this, but basically, I'll read you the back of the box, okay? It says, blended by Chico Rivas for Bravada Cigar Club, 6x50, which is the size, of course, 100% pure indigenous Corojo tobacco from the Dominican Republic. That is 1491. This is not a blend. This is what happens when you take the original Dominican Corojo tobacco and simply make a cigar with it. This is the closest possible modern interpretation of what the great Taino people native to the Caribbean were smoking before Columbus arrived. This is how amazing Dominican tobacco is in its purest form. So there's another video that'll come out that'll talk about the story that came about, or why, you know, this cigar brand came about. And basically I was sitting with Chico Rivas and we were smoking test blends, and he pulled something out and he kind of had a grin on his face. I lit it and I was like, what the fuck is that? And he explained to me the story. He said, people don't understand, our tobacco is serious stuff, you know? Some of the bigger brands blended it to be something that it is not. And this is the original Dominican tobacco. So I thought that was pretty cool. There's other cigars that have been made in a similar fashion, but at the same factory, in fact. But I've been told that the priming and the curing process was like grade A with this. So it's something I'm really proud of. It's also like the first true cigar we're coming out with that's like, hey, this was made by Chico. Like, we've said it before, but like, this is like, it's us and Chico making this cigar. And this is something that will be also a long-term product. We don't normally do that. So this will be on shelves at LCA shops and other shops in the future. And it's just something that will be a regular production cigar because there is no limited, finite amount of this tobacco. So before I cut it and light it, I'm just gonna throw it on the, it's 6. I always like to do this because cigars are not perfect. It is a hand-rolled product. I would say that's 50, yeah. 49 maybe, but 50. So this is one of my favorite Vitolas. It's one of my favorite sizes. And it's something I think everyone can agree on. A Toro and a 50 ring gauge, I mean, you know. And so I'm not lighting this yet. I know some of you probably already lit up or whatever, but I'm pairing this with 10 to 1. Shout out to fellow member Robert Nieves. This guy works for a 10 to 1 rum. This is pretty amazing stuff. I'm enjoying it, and I think it will pair really well with this cigar. We have to remember, as much as we love whiskey, rum was the original cigar pairing, right? So we got to respect that. You know, in Cuba, in Dominican Republic, in Puerto Rico, I mean, this is the stuff right here. This is the stuff right here, fam. And this thing is outrageous. This is a tropical excursion. This is not, you know, bourbon. Cheers, guys. Oh, happy Easter and Passover to everyone out there. Whatever other holiday it could be to anyone of other denominations, happy that to you. I respect all of you and I love you guys. It's time to get it popping. Shout out to the Dominican Republic. Look at this box. It's just the It's just the Dominican flag basically, and then we overlaid some art that Sedated Hype did, and then Josh, I think, laid it out. Sedated might have done the whole thing. The lines get blurred a little bit. It's a family, it's a team effort, but I hope that all the Dominicans out there really love and appreciate that, because, Nicaragua's been kicking ass for the last 5, 7, 8, 10 years. And I know the Dominican Republic has been sitting around like, hey, we can do other things. And this is part of those other things. I don't know that every one of you out there would know that this was a Dominican cigar just by smoking it. So we're going to light it up. On the body, I'm not getting much. The standard, some wood, which would be a cedar. Although this is very sweet. Barnyard kind of thing, that funky earth. A little bit of a beef jerky. Some maple syrup, something like that. I wouldn't call it honey. It's syrupy. Cold draw. Cold draw is going to be like a sesame seed and canned peaches. Wow. What a cold draw. Foot. I'm getting that sweetness. I call it canned peaches, but, I would think that some, scholarly person before me would call that apricot, dried apricot, which I look for. Dried apricot, to me, is the sign of a natural tobacco. You don't want tobacco that's been drenched in a bethune. Okay? It's not going to be a clean smoke. You want to be able to smoke a cigar and 10 minutes later feel like you didn't smoke, right? You want that clean palate. You don't get that when you have a lot of bethune in a cigar. Wow. And by the way, I cut like 5 of these cigars every single time I cut one of the 1491s. There's no problem with the draw. I gotta give it to Chico. He's really showing improving in regards to the production. I'm getting sesame seed, but this time it's like sesame oil. Creamy, powdery, kind of like powdered sugar smoke. Getting something bready. There's white and black pepper in the retro, and my mouth is a little, my lips are a little black peppery. So, if anyone has a constructive comment out there, other than talking amongst yourselves, you have a question, you can throw it in the comments, and I got my main man here, William Bronca, on the comments. And Harry, William's gonna reach out to you. He's a big Discord guy. You guys will get along swimmingly. If anyone has a question, let me know. So it's got this like toasted sesame thing. It's got this creamy, rich, powdered sugar smoke. This cigar is different things at different times. Clark and I have been smoking these for months. And it's different things at different times. And I'd like to believe it's kind of what you need at those times, right? Wouldn't that be cool to have a cigar that was so dynamic every time you smoked it, but it was the right kind of dynamic? So when you're looking for something a little lighter, it was there. When you were looking for something a little more peppery, it was there. And this is kind of been my relationship with this cigar. William, any?
Nothing much. People just dropping their tasting notes in there. Someone asking for a new updated Discord link, which we'll get to everybody.
We'll get you a new updated Discord. What's everyone drinking out there? Alcoholic or non-alcoholic? By the way, I mentioned in an Instagram story that Coca-Cola would be a pairing. And I always think about Coca-Cola very fondly, but I paired Coca-Cola with a cigar yesterday, and the cigar was extremely peppery. It was extremely Nicaraguan. It wasn't very sweet. It was very Habano, Nicaragua. And I didn't love the pairing.
Some Eagle Rare 17.
Eagle Rare.
Array.
Rum and Coke.
And
the rum will cut that sugar thing on the palate.
and then Sharon asked, does it have long filler?
I actually know why he's. I know why he's asking. I heard about that, Saran. Yeah, it's definitely got long filler in it. I don't know if it's the only cigar with long filler in it, but it has long filler. I can promise you that.
And then we have a question: is this going to be the only size of the cigar, or they're going to introduce other sizes?
Who asked that?
Nui.
Don't be asking me tough questions. As of now, yeah, this will be the only cigar. So, look, we're not our parents' cigar brands company, that whole thing, right? I believe that every blend has a perfect size. Of course, that's a little naive. I'm sure he could use this blend and make a different size out of it, and it would be excellent as well. But I'm not into the, and I don't think we are into the, you drop a brand, you have to have 5 different sizes. It's like, it gets muddy there. Like I feel like every blend has a great Vitola or two. And if the 6x50 is not good, it's not a good blend. So let's just stop right there. So oftentimes when I'm in a pinch, I'm going with 6x50. Because again, if the blend is not good at 6x50, it's just not a good blend. You know, and I'm sure there are some master blenders out there that would argue that maybe. I don't know. I don't know about that. So no, this is the only size. And I don't plan on releasing a ton of, maybe a limited edition of a regular release in a different size. But I like to find the right size for the right blend and just stay there. And then move on to the next brand.
From Jacoby, is there a process to getting certain flavor in tobacco? If so, what part of the cigar is usually more distinctive in flavor?
Jacoby, thanks for the question. It's a great question. Some blenders will tell you that 70 to 90% of the flavor comes from the wrapper. Sort of true. Sort of not true. Very confusing, right? I wish I could explain that a little bit better. Imagine a cannoli, if you've ever eaten a cannoli, okay? Where's the flavor coming from? Is it just the filling? William, is it just the filling?
From what?
A cannoli, when you eat a cannoli.
It's coming from everything.
Right. So, I don't think you can say that. It just comes from this one thing. There are some blenders that swear by. I mean, the Aroa, Christian Aroa is dead set on the wrappers. The only reason I question anything is because I get test blends in different sizes, and I go, oh well, that's still there, but this changed that. So the original question also had to do with not just which. What was the question again?
So it was, is there
A specific leaf?
process?
A specific
to get
process.
flavor into the cigars?
Sure. We've talked about Bethune, and we don't want to keep talking about Bethune. That's not good for our industry, so we're not going to keep going there. But, you know, there are teas and natural teas, by the way. Like they'll take stems of things that, you know, it's the same tobacco, but they'll put it in water, boil it, maybe put, I don't know, you know, tea or something, and, you know, they're constantly moistening these leaves, right? So sometimes they're like, why just use water? Like, why not use the other tobacco that we couldn't use in it, and that kind of thing. So, sure, there are Bethune or teas and stuff that they use, but that sesame is turning into like peanut shells, like fresh peanuts. I'm gonna have to keep retouching because I'm talking a lot, so I apologize for that.
Another question, is there any specific type of cigar that you're going to look for when you do something like this again? And it goes on to say that they love this and it allows everybody to bond and have a good cigar together. From Joseph Griffiths.
Joseph Griffiths. Thank you for that. I love it. I love it too. And we're going to figure out ways to maybe get a monitor in here so I can actually be in the chat with you, right? So it's just a little bit more in real time. And we'll do that next time we do this. Yes, we're going to do more of this. 100%. 100%. And again, shout out to Saran for really, he pushed the issue with me. He's like, because other people have mentioned it in passing, but he was like, listen, this is something that you have to do. It's important for us and our community, and we want to share these things with you and these experiences with you. And this can go, Saran, you planted that seed. This can go to way deeper levels than this. We can get really, really deep with this, and I'm excited. I did not assume that, you know, almost 1,000 people were going to buy the pre-release just to do this. I have no idea how many people actually showed up. Do you have any?
We're at 165.
Okay, 165, that's not bad. So, you know, some of the others are at work. They're on the West Coast, they're this, they're that, and we might need to go a little bit later next time for West Coast. We'll go to 9, so it's 6 o'clock. And others will just smoke along at a different time, which is also cool because if you bought a box of these, or if you went at a different time and smoked this in the future, you'll be able to smoke along with this again. So yes, I think this adds experience to a cigar smoking situation, and I want more of that. Everything okay?
Yeah, everything's good. From Dan Wood, what's the most interesting new thing you've learned about tobacco and cigars?
Dan Wood, thanks for the question. And by the way, I love you guys. I hope you know that. I truly hope you know that. I sat with some members yesterday in Jacksonville. Some amazing people. We got tours of Masonic temples and Scottish Rite temples and art museums, and it was just, it was phenomenal. I look forward to one day retiring and traveling around the world, around the country, maybe the world, with my wife and visiting all of you. I think that's, well, we have a community here, and we gotta, you know, we don't have to be best friends, but we gotta communicate. We gotta keep in touch. We gotta figure out ways to keep in touch, which obviously social media is a big part of that. Because this is so special. It's so special to, hey, your company's sending you on a trip to Jacksonville. Oh, you know 4 people in Jacksonville. And by the way, one of them's the mayor or like works in town hall. Like it's just what we're creating here is way beyond just cigars. It's phenomenal. The most recent thing I learned about tobacco. I love that question. I gotta jog my memory. The most recent thing that I learned about tobacco is something that I already knew, but it's coming back up again, and I'm starting to realize the importance of it. And that is the relationship between cedar and tobacco. Chico does not use cedar. He does not use cedar in his aging. We did not box these in cedar. Cedar is not a part of his equation, which I find just as fascinating and just as passionate and just as culinary or cool or ingredient like between someone who heavily relies on cedar and someone who says, I don't use cedar at all. To get, it's so to me, I think I'm going back over the cedar thing and smoking cigars aged with cedar, smoking cigars aged without cedar, and I'm seeing the difference that it's actually putting into this thing. And I want to, before we take the next question, and thank you for that, I want to say this. Banger. I want to say this. There are so many layers and levels to this thing. It's a cool hobby to be into. It is a cool lifestyle to be into. It is cool. There's just so much. The onion, you could just keep peeling layers of this thing back, and it's like you think you know something and you don't. And so I want to say to the people out there that if you have in your mind that there's like certain levels, you can just go beyond that. You'll always be learning about this wonderful craft that we need to show to the world is more than just, smoking. It's more than jewelry. It's more than just a look or something to do to get a buzz with alcohol. It's not. This is culinary, and there are so many layers and levels to this thing. I'm just constantly learning, and each master blender I sit with gives me knowledge and information and stories that just it just opens up levels of this thing, and it's phenomenal. So there's so much more than that, but cedar is something that's been on my mind over the past few weeks, since Santana was here and sat down with us. That's his thing. That's his domain. Yeah.
From NM, why do you think Nicaragua has outpaced every other region by so much? Is it the American palate or a number of other things? From NM.
NM. It's a great question. This thing is, again, it's always what I need it to be when I want it to be, if that makes sense. Like if I smoked it in the morning, it's not quite as heavy as I remembered it being when I had whiskey with it. And when I, just have it after a meal, it's just right. Like this thing is just right when I smoke it 90% of the time. And I'm really proud that we get to offer this. And I'm proud of the artwork. It's very indigenous. I'm proud of the idea that, that this is the original tobacco of the Dominican Republic. And shout out to Chico Rivas for hooking us up, man. We love you. And it is long filler, I promise you that. So, what was the question again? It was a great question.
Yeah. Lost it.
Damn it, NM, I remember the name.
Yeah.
It's time for another drink.
Why do you think Nicaragua has outpaced every other region by so much?
I'll tell you what. They have a robust soil over there. They have a robust economy for tobacco over there. And yes, you're 100% right. It very well much could be that the American palate wants this. The American palate in coffee, in wine, in bourbon, wants the fullest body stuff it can get. And if you're talking about full body tobacco, it's Nicaragua. So yes, that is a lot to do with it. Also, it's coming into its own now. By the way, like, guys just started growing there in the 90s. Like, it's really not that long that people have been growing tobacco there. So, you know, it's twofold. It's, yes, you guys want that full fucking, you know, hit, and the people have been going there and going there and going there. People from Cuba going there and going there and going there. And so it's all come to fruition for Nicaragua. It is a beautiful thing, and I hope that you can all enjoy Nicaraguan tobacco the same way I do, knowing that there could very well be a time where, or times where, we can't get this stuff. So let's appreciate it, and let's appreciate all tobacco that way, that's naturally grown and naturally processed, and you know. But that could happen. That is not far-fetched.
See some talk about Bravada.
It's sweet. It's woody. It's got pepper. It's got everything you need in a cigar. And it's 100% the same plant. The idea that not only is this the original indigenous Corojo tobacco of the Dominican Republic, but that it's all just one plant. This isn't this plant from this, you know, Corojo and Criollo and Habano. This is just one plant from one farm, and it happens to be one of the most beautiful farms in the Dominican Republic. William, would you mind grabbing me an ashtray? I forgot an ashtray. Thank you, brother. Bravada. So let's talk about it. Bravada is not florals. Jesus, this thing's fucking great. Another one for the books, y'all. Bravada is not Cigar Fest. It's not, you know, we can't do things. I feel like if things happen, God willing, the way that they're happening in my mind, in reality, that the Lou Liga July anniversaries are going to be like a little bit of a version of our Cigar Fest, and the Bravada Con is going to be an experiential. I would almost like it to become. Do you need help with something?
I was just checking the microphone. People are saying there's a little crackling in it.
Crackling?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's check that out. We don't want crackling, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so crackling might come from. Tell me when it's in frame, okay? Is it in frame now?
The cable is, but we can fix that.
Okay.
The mic is just in frame, so if you bring it up a little bit.
Just in frame. Okay, sorry guys, give us 1 sec.
Only happens on a live.
Mike still in frame?
Nope, it's out of frame.
How about now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Cord? Good?
Yep,
Everything good?
should be, yeah. I'm gonna do a quick.
Are we getting crackling on the mic? That's what we want to know. How's the mic sounding right now? Mic check. 1 2 1 2. How are we sounding? Good? No?
Still crackling.
Still crackling.
Okay.
What if I turn it on and off?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm also gonna.
Good? Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. How are we sounding out there?
Check the wire up there. Unplug it, plug it back in.
Better?
Better? Better, but not perfect.
Okay, how about now? Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Sorry guys, a little technical difficulties here. Lives are not easy. For us anyway. I don't know. Brian Glenn can do a live, all day for 3 weeks. We cannot do a live. Our videos are amazing, but our lives are like, it's tough for us. So, how do we sound now?
I'm getting better. I'm getting good now.
Good now? Are we good now? Babe? Good?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah. Looks good.
What'd you say?
Good on there? Yeah, just roll on.
Okay. All right. Sounds like it's good
Problem
enough.
for another day.
Okay. Is it the AC maybe blowing on it?
Possibly, but we got. It's just a light crackle, so keep moving forward.
How about now? Mic check. 1 2 1 2. We're
Alright.
we're talking about Bravada. Let me know if anything changes. So we're talking about Bravada. I feel like the Lou Liga thing is the anniversaries there are going to be more like a cigar fest that we can all be involved in, and it's in Philadelphia. It's one of the best cigar markets in the country. Outdoors this time, and sponsored, and it's going to be awesome. I'm never going to do this whole thing where it's like, I make all these cigar manufacturers make us cigars for next to nothing just to, sell their cigars. How are we doing?
Good.
Did it help at all? The AC?
It's gotten better. Well, it's only when you're talking, so it's the mic. So
It's
all
the
good.
mic.
We can. We'll keep moving.
Okay. All right. No problem. So, long story short, can you ask her to turn her volume down?
Yeah.
Okay. So, for Bravada, I want to be an experience as far as learning. I want you to leave. So, the only way I can describe Bravada is I want you to leave feeling like you're a better cigar smoker, feeling like you got an intimate look into the craft of cigars, feeling as though you know more, and that's important to me. So that's Bravada. I'd like it to be some classes. I'd like it to be some tastings. I'd like it to be pairings. You'll leave with some cigars. It's not gonna be 30 cigars or some. It's just not. I want it to be more intimate. That's Bravada. Bravada's where you go in your exploration of cigars, and of course we get to hang out together. And I'm sure by the end of the day we'll all be sloppy and having a great time, but that's that. Now, the Newmans want me to start having Bravada at the El Reloj factory in Tampa starting next year. They're going to block off the block. That will change things a little. It will make it a lot easier. We'll have classes at different times in different rooms, and it's going to be phenomenal. But I am not going to forget the people that came to Bravada. One, you're going to be part of something, I don't know what. There's no club within the club, but there will be some sort of benefit to showing up. or to at least buying tickets. If you buy tickets and it turns out you can't show up, you'll at least get the cigars. And we'll also put up a ticket after we stop selling at the end of the month for attendee BravadaCon, for non-attendee BravadaCon, where you'll get most of the cigars for the experience.
Do we have any plans to have, you talked about the pairings for BravadaCon. People were asking if there'll be any non-alcoholic pairings, like
100%. In fact, I'm thinking that I'd like to, I don't want to give ideas to anyone else out there, because people just seem to take our shit and run with it. No, but I'm working on, let me just say that, because people do watch our stuff and they do take ideas and stuff. And look, there's enough for everyone out there. But yes, the answer to that is yes, 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 and expect more in that category. I often feel bad about drinking on camera, although I'm probably not going to stop anytime soon, because we have so many sober members, and I just want you to know that I respect you all, and you're not missing out on a fucking thing. Tomorrow morning, I'm not going to feel good. I'm going to end up taking Advil and blah, 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 and eating bad. So, if that's where you're at, man, I respect you so much. It's really, really cool. Shout out to my boy John over in the UK, Sober Cigar, who makes all of our tea.
So for those who can't go to BravadaCon, there's a question about what may they be able to access at home?
Yeah, so you're going to be able to access a video that will give you the feel of being there, or at least show you the experience of being there, and you'll be able to access 5 out of the 6 cigars that will be given to attendees at BravadaCon. Am I still crackling out there?
It's a little bit.
A little bit?
Not too
Okay. Shout out to 10 to 1. Robert, you're the man. I just support all of you for supporting me, and I hope that you're all enjoying this community, this experience, the monthly boxes. It's just going so far beyond that. In fact, what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to take a moment. I know some of you have seen it already, but I'd like to take a moment to play for you something very special to us. I literally paid for, well, it was a bit of a situation, but we got Johnny to San Antonio, Johnny Taquitos to San Antonio, and we were supposed to meet with Cigar Nut as well, but that didn't happen. We wanted to feature someone for Cigar One, and we'll be looking to feature other people for Cigar One, that kind of embody this wonderful community and culture and positive energy that comes with smoking cigars for today's time. And so we did something on Ian Gutierrez, which is, he's known as the Vinyl Cowboy. It's just a 3-minute quick piece that we did, and I'd like to play that now. Are you able to play that on the screen for them? Yeah. Let's play that.
You want to go do it now? All right. My name's Ian Gutierrez, also known as the Vinyl Cowboy. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm the Vinyl Cowboy because I've got 14,000 1,000 records, which is probably the most obvious thing to recognize from my Instagram page. But what also defines me pretty strong is my cigar, my passion for cigars. I've been smoking cigars 30 years, since I was 15 years old, stealing cigars from my dad's humidor when I was a kid, and it never stopped. Bravada is really what changed me. I was more in a rhythm with cigars, and I'd smoked maybe the same legacy brands over and over. And eventually, the opportunity to try something new was presented by Bravada. And Brian and the whole crew, I mean, we were like a dagger carved into the market. And new shapes were being smoked, you know, new flavors were being opened. This craft movement, it's extraordinary. And I love the association. I've made so many friends through Bravada. That's the other thing, the sense of community. We feel like a family. We are family. We are Bravada. That's what we are. And you feel it. It's sort of a collection of people that, to me, they must navigate to Bravada, and Bravada must be looking for those people, because there seems to be a familial type atmosphere with Bravada. I think cigars allow us to be in the moment. I'm proud to be featured with Cigar One. For me, it's more than just another cigar brand. It's a way of being. And some things just go together. And for me, that's coffee, that's vinyl, and that's cigars. I'm Ian Gutierrez. I'm the Vinyl Cowboy. One life, one love, Cigar One.
All right, y'all. So we played with the volume of the mic a little bit. We'll see if that helps, but
Got a lot of love for Johnny in the chat, saying what a great video.
Johnny's the fucking Scorsese of cigars. This guy's incredible, man. The things we're doing together, it gives me as much joy, I have to admit, as the cigars do. You know, we spend 3 days a week together for a few hours a day, and this is my way. I mean, by the way, we spend so much money on audio-visual stuff that it's like multimedia stuff that it's like, it was like, okay, the cigars, they love the cigars. They're happy. We're serving them better than we can. Okay, what else can we do to make them? Okay, we're going to entertain them too, right? And then we're going to try to fuse these things together to make experiences like this, right? This is just the beginning. This is the amateur beginning of what we can do together through experiences, right? I really do believe that. And so when I work with Johnny, that's like the other way that I'm making you happy. And then when I work with the artist, it's like the other way that I'm making you happy with the visuals, right? You know, it's like, I just enjoy bringing you guys happiness so much. I'm really lucky to be here. Let's move on to the next conversation, question.
So from Jacoby Benjamin, what would you say is your biggest accomplishment and what has been your biggest failure since starting Bravada? And also, where do you see Bravada in the next 5 years?
Yeah. My biggest failure was spiritedsmoke.com. That was supposed to be like a Facebook group type thing, and it was queued up to be huge. We were off to the races, but we simply did not have the money and the talent and the William Broncos and the, the Johnny Taquitos of the world to make that work well. And so it was basically like a Facebook group, but for all cigar smokers. There are other companies that have done it, but they can't seem to get the loyal group behind them like we have, the community. And so that was my biggest failure. Biggest success, finding you guys. Honestly, I don't. This is where luck comes into the equation. There are millions, thousands, at least hundreds of entrepreneurs out there that have a passion for whatever product they're creating or working with, that they don't get to meet you guys. And that's what makes this so special, is this is really, and I've said this before, but I don't say it often, I wouldn't have called it Bravada Cigar Club. I would have called it Bravada Cigar Co-op, because that's really what we are. We're pooling our money together, and you guys are trusting me to go out and meet with the best cigar makers of all time and get them to give us our best stuff. That's what that money goes to. When you pay that $26, don't look at it as, oh, I'm paying $26 for 3 cigars. No, you're chipping in every month so that I can go out, express your gratitude to the master blenders of the world and get them to make us their best stuff. That's what that $26 goes to.
From Miguel Morales, new to cigars, is there a book that you might recommend to become more knowledgeable in order to appreciate the experience more?
No. What's up? Short answer is, everything sounds okay?
Better, much better.
Better, okay. All right, sorry guys. We'll work on it. The short answer is no. What I recommend is reading the tasting notes while you're smoking the cigars, and then buying more of those cigars so that you can keep reading those tasting notes while you're smoking those cigars. That's how I learned. Okay, I would read reviews, smoke the cigar, and so I recreated that, and I also added tasting notes, pairing notes, and a million other things so that you could really get the story and get in. So that's what I recommend. You want to become a good cigar smoker, stick with the club, the main club, okay? And then use farm rolls as a place to test your skill level, right? Because it doesn't come with all of the information. You can start to write down your information. Once you really know what you're talking about and you've got confidence in your abilities, then I would recommend reading the best book ever written on cigars, which is 100 Years in the Tobacco Business, 100-Year Tobacco Family. I forget the name of it, but it's Stanton Newman, the father of Eric and Bobby, grandfather of Drew Newman from J.C. Newman. He wrote, in my opinion, the best book ever written on cigars. It will give you more knowledge than some of the people who own brands in this industry. It is just phenomenal. But you gotta work your way up there.
A question from Patrick Sandy. What's your criteria for a test blend to make it into the box? The club box.
Yeah. Banger. Come on. It's got to be a banger. I smoke it and I go, this is a fucking banger right here. And then I give it to Clark and he's like, yeah, that's a banger for sure. And then I give it to my wife and she's like, oh my God, I love this. Can you get me more? Yes, that's the process. Also, now we have Bravada Test Blends. It's a subscription within a subscription that you can add on to your subscription. And this is, you're getting the same cigars that manufacturers are sending me that they want to be in the box. And they're saying, hey, this is Bravada Cigar Club worthy. And I'm saying, I don't have the time to smoke all these cigars, right? But I don't want to miss out on bangers, right? So I'm going to smoke the ones from this guy and from that guy, but I can't smoke them all because everyone wants to be in Bravada now. And so I send them out to you guys with the scorecard, and you tell me if it's a banger. And if you think it's a banger, I save 2 or 3 for myself, and I'll go back and smoke that. And then, you know, we can get into it.
From Sevdet Alus,
My brother, that's my brother right there, Sev.
what continues to drive you day in and day out?
You do. Look, I love cigars. I would have found 1 or 2 great manufacturers and had my drinks and smoked my cigars every day if it wasn't for you guys. You guys put the battery in my back. Sev, your comments, all of your comments, the 200 people that showed up here today, the 1,000 people that bought the pre-release, the 9,000 people a month that send me 9,000, whatever, the few hundred people a month that send me thank you letters. That's what keeps me going. I have a passion for this. It would be there regardless of that or not. But you guys trusting me to pool our money together, and by the way, I've put more money into this thing than I've taken out, okay? So we're pooling our money together in pursuit of the best cigars, I don't want to steal the clowns. The clowns have their in pursuit of the best cigar, but you understand. I've been saying this from the beginning. I'm here to find the best cigars, and so that was my goal. But you guys really fueled that.
From the Herflocker, where's the next up and coming tobacco region?
These are my people. There's a lot of talk about Brazil, but I don't know if that's really it. There's another place that I'm getting you guys cigars from that I don't want to mention here because I don't need every other wannabe club and wannabe the next Bravada going to this region and trying to get cigars from there, okay? Because eventually even idiots get lucky. Okay, so, but according to people with large brands, Brazil could be the next thing. Uruguay's coming up. So there's that. But shout out to all the Armenians out there. Shout out to Phil from Herflocker, my guys over there, man. I love you guys. But I can definitely answer that question for you privately. That's one question I won't answer publicly.
From Pop 'em, Don't Watch 'em.
Oh, I love that guy. Dude, thank you. I saw your review, and boy, I love it. Louisiana in the building. I love what you're doing. One day I will stop by for a drink and a cigar. I promise you that. We will finish a bottle together, and I'll regret it the next day. But I love what you're doing, and thank you so much for, it amazes me because it is a business, right? And so you always feel like in business, like, when you become successful, you're like, am I treating my people the right way? And am I honest? And then do they see my real passion for it? And without you knowing me, I saw you put out that video and you're like, this guy, like you saw it, you see it. And that's really, there's nothing worse in life than being misunderstood. And there's nothing better in life than being understood. And you understood that without knowing me personally. And I just appreciate that. What was his question again, though?
So his question was, have you ever thought of writing a book about Bravada, the rise and everything you've learned? And if so, what would you call the book?
So I wrote a book about Bravada from a purely entrepreneurial standpoint. It has nothing to do with cigars in a sense. And that's called Real Communal Commerce. It's on Amazon. It's like $9.99. It's like 110 pages. It's an easy read. It was for entrepreneurs because I think that Bravada is actually the beginning of where the internet is really going to go from an e-commerce perspective. There's no doubt Amazon and, you know, all the major big companies will reign supreme. However, I believe that there are people like you out there with your passion for bourbon that can become a leader or a buyer for, you know, other people with your same taste in bourbon. I believe that everything old is new again. I think that the internet could make it possible for us to one day have a dairy person again, a meat person again, the same things that our parents had or their parents had, you know, this except now it's national, not just on Main Street. It's these people that subscribe to your beliefs and your passions and your just, you know, wants and desires. They get you, and you're willing to give them X amount of money a month, like Bravada Cigar Club, to go out and find you the best in that thing, okay? And so that's what Real Communal Commerce was about. The book that I will write next is on cigars, and it's a work in progress, and it's going to take time, and there will be others that put out books before me, but I believe that based on the information and knowledge that I get, you got to understand something. There are people out there that have probably a lot more fundamental understanding of tobacco than I do in some senses. And I was always waiting for one of the big boutique brands to kind of come at me, in a sense, and be like, well, who the fuck are you? What do you know? How do you know this shit? Well, you're just a cigar club. Well, I've sat with now some of the best blenders of our time, and I've learned as much as I can from them because I'm super passionate. This was never about the money. This was never about the money for me. So it was about the knowledge and the passion and learning as much as I could from each of them. So while some of these people have sat with this one blender, this one farmer, this one grower, this one fermenter, and learned everything they can from them, I'm getting the opportunity to sit with a lot of them and learn from all of them. And so that's why I think in another couple of years, I'm going to be primed to write the best book ever written on cigars. It's my opinion, and hopefully it will turn out that way. But that's, you know, it will be with the help of those people. I don't claim to be a grower. I don't claim to be a blender. I'm a curator, and I'm a buyer, and I'm one of the largest buyers in our industry at this point. In fact, Bravada members should be really proud because we're the largest buyer of a single cigar out there. Someone asked in 5 years where we're going to be. We're going to be the new Cigars International, except we're going to be in a culinary phase of that. They were in the cigar smokers then were looking for a good bang for your buck for a decent cigar, tasted okay. They didn't give a shit. They would just put the cigar in my mouth, light it up. So, you know, they threw a stick in your mouth, and my friend Scotty Campana told me that. He would go to his father's steel factory, and, you know, they threw a stick in your mouth, you lit it up, you didn't talk about the flavor notes or any of that. So we're going to be the Cigars International or the JR of this thing because we're all growing. Those guys are getting older, they're passing on, they're, you know, 60, 70 years old. We're 20s, 30s, 40s, some of us 50s, and we're going to have a good 20, 30 year run here. And so, yeah, eventually we're going to be the biggest cigar retailer out there. And that's going to be pretty cool because we're going to do it from a real passionate place and a real culinary place and a real... that's why Bravada Explorer is so crucial. You know, that's the beginning of this thing. Is you can go online and buy cigars anywhere you want, but Bravada Explorer starts to give you an opportunity to find specific cigars that are going to be specific to your liking, to specific flavors, to specific experiences, and no one's done that before, and I'm really proud of that too. And I hope you guys use the feature, and I hope you guys send us input to make the feature even better. So that's where I see us in 5 years, and you know, that's how I feel about the book. I think we'll write the best book out there we can because it will be done with the consulting of the best of the best. Cheers. First tasting note in this 10-to-1 Caribbean dark rum, which is extremely unique, is tobacco. Second tasting note is cedar, and the third tasting note is vanilla. Those are the makings of a good pairing. If I didn't drink, one of the things that I would drink with my cigar was cream soda, most likely. Problem with sugars and the smoke is it can really like caramelize on the tongue, and sometimes that's a bad experience depending on the time of day. Truth is, if I didn't drink, coffee would be my go-to, but tea, especially tea with cream. I tried tea with honey and cream, and I mean, good Lord, you can have total different experiences. Coffee is going to be a very enjoyable experience and a very predictable experience. The teas, and we have teas on the site from Tea Keepers. Shout out to John again, who actually visited us here, him and his lovely wife. I'm so honored that you guys came to visit us. I mean, some of the teas you're making, John, are with cigars better than coffee in some ways. Truly, thank you.
All right. From David Bruce Taylor,
My man,
they're asking, how is the Bravada tobacco crop growing?
it's not growing. I was waiting for someone to ask it. It is not growing. If it is, I don't know about it. Unfortunately, we haven't heard anything back on it. And yeah, man, there's politics in this game. It's unfortunate, but it is an industry at the end of the day, as relaxed as it may be. I don't know anything about it if it is growing, unfortunately. We will do it, though, at some point.
From Jason Y, I'm sure I'm going to butcher this.
My man.
But what did the
Gizlardi.
Tano people do to vary the smoking?
What was that?
What did the
Taino?
Taino people do to vary the smoking experience? And did they play with priming or any other variables in the soil, etc.? And then what was their go-to pairing?
I mean, no one knows that. These are the... so just so you understand how much of a... I hate to say it. I don't want to... Listen, I don't get political at all. But just so you understand, when statistics, whatever they're worth, if they're real or not, when Columbus showed up on the island of Hispaniola, which is now the Dominican Republic and Haiti, there were 150,000 estimated indigenous people there. Okay? Within, I believe, 10 or 20 years, there were only 15,000 of them left. Most of the fossils that they find of the people from that time had broken spines. They worked them to death, basically. So these Taino Indian that came up on the island of the Dominican Republic, there's not a ton of records from these people. Okay? So that's that. I don't want to get into politics. I don't want anyone messaging me about Christopher Columbus, whether he was a saint or the devil or, that's not why we're here. We're here for cigars. The issue at hand is we don't know. We just don't know. They were also smoking much, it would seem from the illustrations, much bigger cigars. We believe they were inhaling to create a high, which we don't do. The thing about this tobacco is the agronomist engineers in the Dominican Republic that have worked with this farm believe this to be the most pure seed. In other words, this is like as close to the original thing as they can possibly get because they didn't have to hybridize this. This has always been growing there, that kind of thing. Now, there are arguments about Olor versus Corojo, which some people take very seriously. There's arguments that they're the same thing. It's a, and we're not going to go there either because we don't know. But this is as close to, in other words, in this country we have yellow corn. The real corn was not yellow, right? And so heirloom tomatoes, there's one that everyone knows, right? You see an heirloom tomato, it doesn't look like it's like different colors, they're different shapes, and so this is the heirloom tomato of the Dominican Republic.
From Renegades 317, when did you realize the community aspect of Bravada and where it started to evolve to where you began to nurture it?
Right away. I came from a business that you didn't get a thank you. And so I spent 7 years in that before Bravada even started. And so when I started Bravada as just another business, basically, there's a story to that. I was trying to sell some of my collection, and people didn't realize how special they were, etc. But when I started to get thank you emails from customers, it was so refreshing. Sorry, guys. It was so refreshing to me that my instinct was to become friendly with these people, communicate with them, and to serve their needs as best as I possibly could. And that's what grew this community. Because there's very few businesses out there where the owner actually gives a shit about the end customer. And so that's how that happens. But to Renegades 317, whoever asked that, thank you. It's these moments. It's these emails that you send me. It's these comments that you leave on the YouTube or the Instagram or the wherever. It's the engagement on the Discord. It's the engagement on the Facebook group. I mean, these are the things that make me realize that we have something very, very special. My life goal was not to work this hard. My life goal was to work as little as I possibly could and make a very reasonable living. But this changed that. You guys changed that. And so I don't know that I'll always be able to dedicate, 1,050% to this thing. But, I talk to my wife about it all the time, like striking while the iron's hot. Like, we have a very special situation, and I'm not going to let that fizzle anytime soon. So I guess that's where the communal aspect of this thing comes from. And you guys really make that communal thing happen. So I feel like the more energy I put into it, the more you guys say, this is special, and then you meet each other online, and then it's like, okay, this is a real thing. And one day I'd like to have like a Bravada phone book where it's like an old time club where you just kind of, all know each other somehow. So.
From Daily Focus Gaming. So BravadaCon will involve classes, tasting, and pairings. They're asking if you could elaborate on what kind of activities to expect.
I don't have any idea yet. So I've been asked to do a BravadaCon thing for the last 2 or 3 years. I never did it. I'm not a big in-person guy as far as like events and things like that. That's not my thing. My thing has always been social media, online, multimedia, and art. And so the idea with BravadaCon pre-selling tickets was to figure out how many people were coming. So we knew what kind of venue it could be in, and we knew what kind of experiences that could invoke. I'll know at the end of the month how many people are coming because we're going to stop selling tickets after, we're in April, right? Or are we in May?
April.
April. After April, there will be no more tickets sold, okay? Again, my vision for it when I think in the back of my mind about BravadaCon is it's very classroom-esque in the beginning. It's very low-key, quiet, calm during the day, and it turns into, a little bit more of food and drinks at the end of the day and just, getting to know all of each other. But you know me, and you know that I'm not going to let you guys down, and I'm not going to do something that's half-assed. So it's going to be special.
Somebody asked, I lost the name, but they were asking when the hat's dropping.
What time is it?
It is 9:42.
9:42. Okay, so I've decided to slowly, over time, take Bravada merchandise, anything that's not cigar related, off of the Bravada Cigar Club website. I got this idea from studying Davidoff and realizing that they basically created other Davidoff brands so that they could advertise their brand legally without advertising tobacco. For instance, Cool Water Cologne is Davidoff. They have coffee, they have cognac, they have a million other things. You cannot advertise tobacco. So I thought about this long and hard, and I created something called BravadaClub.com. BravadaClub.com is where we're going to sell all of our merchandise. We will not charge you shipping, so you don't have to worry about paying shipping. So you don't have to worry about going to Bravada Cigar Club and going, okay, I want all these cigars and I'm paying, the $5 or $6 shipping, which I'm being told by everyone and their mother that shipping is about to go through the roof. So I'm sorry, I don't make money off that, okay? And then say, hey, can you consolidate this order that I bought on BravadaClub.com? That's why there will be no shipping on BravadaClub.com. But you can go to BravadaClub.com right now, and you can watch this video. You want to play it for them?
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys have been asking me for this for years. I'm not wearing it now, actually. I should have wore it now, but I typically wear my flat brim felt hat that I love so much. I went out and I had it made for us in 3 different sizes, and you're going to play it?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Hat Clark.
I love you like la 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 la.
I've worked hard over the years to cultivate my own gentlemanly aroma. Aromas such as that of a fine, aromatic cigar smoke and the rich, pungent, salty aroma radiating off of thick, beefy kings who populate gentleman's aroma. An aroma I like to refer to as that of a well-marbled, dry-aged beefsteak. And shout out to my boys, Ricky and Edwin, my brothers. I cannot wait to meet you in person and discover your own gentlemanly aromas and see what kind of alchemy results in the commingling of our own gentlemanly aromas.
I'm gonna shower extra hard tonight.
Okay, now that you've been introduced to Hat Clark, I have something here that is near and dear to our hearts. Since we started the club, people have been asking me for this hat. We have finally been able to make this hat. It's near and dear to me because my family were hat makers for 2.5 generations. So it's something that takes me back to my childhood, being in a hat factory. It's something that I know very well, and I'm really proud to be able to offer this exact medium brim fedora. I guess you could say it's a large brim, 2.5 inch. This is how it's gonna come packaged, okay? Just so you guys can see what you're getting. First, we have a Bravada photo flag in here. This is cool. You can take photos of things on Instagram or just hang it up, do whatever you want with it, but it's a pretty cool Bravada photo flag. Then we have beautiful packaging as always. A little personalized note. And okay, so it's like a medium camel color, customized feather, customized pin. This is a type of merino wool that allows you to crush it and it bounces back to shape. It is certainly a sturdy hat. We've got our own brand, tags inside. This was made custom just for the members of Bravada Club. So I hope you all enjoy this hat. I know a ton of you have been asking me for this for a long time. I wanted to show you how it's packaged, how you'll get it, and I also wanted to introduce you to Hat Clark.
Ricky, I'm hoping, my brother, that your gentlemanly aroma is that of like a nice roast beef left on the counter for just a little bit too long, but in a way that is pungent, but you like the way it smells bad and it makes you feel happy on the inside, you know? And Edwin, my brother, I'm just imagining that you've got a great combination of a nice rich bourbon and gasoline that says, yeah, I operate heavy machinery after drinking.
So I hope that you enjoyed meeting Hat Clark. He's a very interesting alter ego of Clark. We literally put the hat on him and he would not, I'm serious. We just went out there to do a photo shoot and we put the hat on him and he would not stop talking like that. Ironically, he got very sick last week and his voice actually turned into that. It was very concerning. So that is Hat Clark, my friends. I hope that that is not the last time you see Hat Clark. Merchandise is not fun for me. Let me rephrase that. Merchandise is awesome for me. It's not fun because it adds a lot to our plate, and it really, like, you know, it's take it or leave it. So it's kind of not what we do, but at the same time, I started Bravada Club because I actually want to find the members within the club that want a classic wardrobe. And so basically my idea ultimately for Bravada Club is that you'll be able to pay, I don't know, $50 a month. And every month that $50 will be exceeded with a classic item. For instance, the khaki joggers that I'm wearing right now are a potential for the Bravada Club. And these would sell for normally $65 or something like that, and you would pay $40 or $50 a month. We're chipping in our money, you know, to get one classic piece each month, maybe two, depending on the cost. And if you didn't join the club, if we have leftovers, they'd sell for $75. So you'd automatically save money, and it'd be a great way for people to... I feel like a lot of men out there, especially millennial men, have a little bit of trouble dressing themselves and knowing what to buy. And fashion is my game. It's in my blood. My hat, the hats come from the fact that, you know, I would have been the third generation hat maker on the other side of my family. My grandfather, which I'll introduce to you, a World War II bomber veteran, B-29 shooter, was a fashion illustrator all of his life, put 4 kids through college with it. Quiet man, but very, very talented. And I'll be introducing him to you guys probably in 2023, some of his art. Yeah. So, and then my grandmother was a writer. So there's a lot of creativity that comes with mostly fashion in my family. And so I'd like to create, even if it's only 100 of us, you know, this group of people on bravadaclub.com. And we haven't set up the business like that yet. We will eventually. But I'd like to make it like a mystery box of, you know, clothing that you'll get each month that'll be well priced. Very well priced for the people that subscribe. And yeah, so that's what I think Bravada Club will grow into. But for now, we're just going to sell some of our clothing in bravadaclub.com and do cool commercials and show you guys how special these items are, because I don't think I've done a very good job of explaining to you why the polos that are in the store right now are absolutely amazing and should not sell for the price that they're selling for currently. So
From Dan Wood, is there going to be a
My brother.
vintage 22 cigar?
Where's the box? Yeah, oh yeah, there is. It's gonna be every year. As long as the Aroas will have us, as long as Christian will make it for us, we will have it. It's gonna be the vintage of that year. Same blend, same size, same packaging, except the number will change. And I just cleared the, William, could you grab me that box underneath the TV right there?
Yeah.
See that white box? So yeah, good call, Dan Wood. Appreciate you, brother. So proud of this program, and I love that branding. And I was urged by some people that it needs to change each year, the branding, but it doesn't. The number needs to change. That's what needs to change, because this was a perfect release. It is a perfect cigar, and I'm proud to be a part of that. And so the number will change each year, 21, 22, 23, and the people that have those will be able to compare them each year. And it's an honor to get to smoke that cigar because it's damn near perfect. It is not, I would say, if I'm being critical, it is not necessarily perfect looking, although there's nothing wrong with the way it looks. And so this is what I'm talking about, guys, with the layers of getting to know cigars, getting to learn cigars. You go through layers where it's like, oh, this is a great cigar. Oh, but this isn't even better. Oh, but yeah, that's a great cigar, but it didn't use the AAA wrapper and so like, the way I can explain it is this. We were going to do a movie. If you told me that this cigar came from the Dominican Republic 6 months ago, I'd be like, yeah, nah, that's Nicaraguan. And then you told me that not only does this cigar come from the Dominican Republic, but it is purely the Dominican Republic. I'd be like, yeah, no, dude, that's not possible. This is definitely Nicaraguan tobacco. And then you tell me that it comes from one plant. It's not even a blend. Is everyone else enjoying this as much as I am? I hope so. But there are layers to this shit. And let me tell you what I mean by that. And this is, I hope that this gives people some context. Only my true supporters and my true believers and my true people that are really passionate about this are probably watching up until this point. How many people do we have?
Right now we have 150.
Okay. I hired a professional film crew from New York City to go with me to Nicaragua to film a movie. Not a documentary, a movie. I've always been a fan of a few things. And one of those is fashion, and the other one is film. And I wrote this script. And when I wrote this script, I started looking around for people to hire. When I looked around for people to hire, I started watching their reels, is what they're called. That's their version of a test blend. They send you their reel. This is the stuff I've done. And it made me look at film and television differently. There are movies out there that absolutely suck, but were filmed so well that it's amazing. And so I compared that with cigars. The same way that there are movies out there that were filmed so terribly but are amazing, there are cigars that look like shit but that are incredible. And of course, there are cigars that look incredible that aren't very good. But there's this thing that happens when those two items come together and form the perfect cigar or the perfect movie, the perfect cinematography. Sorry, guys. A little dry there. But this stuff is the perfect pairing with this cigar. Give the tasting notes. Tobacco, cedar, vanilla, worn leather, moderate acidity, textural, dry, and clean finish. This is great with this cigar, I'll tell you that. For me, it has notes of cola and pepper. And it's just really good with a true Dominican cigar. Now, since then, I find myself watching Netflix or TV or whatever totally differently. I'm not just looking for entertainment. I'm looking at it and going, and of course this comes from 2 years of working with Johnny Taquitos and lighting and and growing together and learning from him and watching him learning from other people and it's like I'm not just watching the show anymore for entertainment. I'm going, wow, was this shot beautifully? Does that make sense? And there's something to that as well. And so when those two things come together to form a beautiful cigar, and a great smoking cigar, that's that. And so that's the same thing with film is what I'm talking about. So as time goes on, I'll be sharing these things with you, these little tidbits that I learn, and we'll get to a point where we can truly understand the best cigars. And the best cigars doesn't always mean it's the most enjoyable. There's a whole circle that needs to have all of the edges rounded out to form the perfect thing.
From Dan Wood, when's the Subterraneo dropping next? Subterraneo.
Clark has gotten my approval to start shipping out a lot of Subterraneo. I would say stay in tune with your LCA shops and email Clark at bravadacigarclub.com. Bother him to find out who's got what, where, and when. You can start to, within the next 60 days, put together almost the full set. So, and I'm looking forward to sharing some great experiences privately with the 3 people that put together the first 3 sets. You're going to be my heroes. Can I stop for a sec? The sesame seed has turned from like toasted sesame seeds to like sesame seed oil. The smoke is extremely creamy, almost thick to a point of a butter of some sort. It's bitter in the most beautiful way, that sesame bitter. It's got white pepper, maybe some would say black pepper on the retrohale. but it's a thin line between the two. The aroma is still that thing I got off the body, which was that almost a sappy tree in a barn, or I don't know. It's very northeast, far northeast, Vermont kind of fucking thing. There's florals that I want to say are like yellow florals. I'm proud of this cigar. This is a good one. And remember, it's not about us. It's about the people that make this. It's about their expression, what they want to pass on to us. And they've never had the opportunity to have someone communicate this stuff. So I'm kind of like a vessel in this thing. And obviously, you know, I'm a few drinks into the wind and I'm a little more serious than I expected this to be. But this is what it would be like if you came here and sat with me and smoked this cigar. It would be just like this, without the questions, of course, or maybe not. But these people have a communication barrier, a language barrier, no internet, no, you know, way of describing these things without being provoked, and so that's where I'm the vessel for this, and that's why I have zero ego in this shit, other than like, just don't fuck with us. Like, if you fuck with us, you know, I mean, of course you're gonna get the you know, you're gonna get the horns, right? But I'm not here for that. I'm here to express what these people that make these products that we enjoy so much really want you to know when you're smoking these cigars. And that's special. That's special to me, it's special to them, and that's why they're giving us their best stuff. So, by the way, this thing is smoking forever. I know I've been talking through this, but wow, what are we at here? What time is it?
It is 10:05.
10:05. Okay, so we started at 8:30. An hour and a half. Okay.
I got some people asking if there's going to be an Aunt Ben re-up.
Of course there will be. Aunt Ben is family here. That's Team Bravada. Not only will there be an Aunt Ben re-up, but this dude wants to give you guys free NFTs. And I'm so busy that I'm trying to, you know, reply and get back, and he's so busy. We're wanting to bring this thing into the next, you know, generation, the next level of technology, and we're gonna do it. This man is a brilliant artist. Art is just like what I'm talking about with entrepreneurialism. It's you get lucky, and hopefully it will be his getting lucky, right? He's already getting lucky in a million different ways. He was very successful before we ever talked to him, but this guy's got layers of stuff. You know, you look at his paintings, there's layers to this thing, and we're lucky to have him. He's a real member, paying member, before we ever knew he was an artist. So we're in a good situation, and he's gonna work some things out and make sure you guys get into the NFT game in a certain way that it's not a ripoff, it's free, and it's, you know, it's cool, and yeah, so.
For those who are a little late coming or didn't hear it, if they want the hat, what website do they go to?
Bravadaclub.com. You want to play him the commercial one more time?
Yeah, sure.
You can listen to Clark talk about Gentleman's Aroma. There's a cigar shop named Gentleman's Aroma, and he worked that into his thing, and that's cool. They're an LCA shop. They're in Connecticut, I believe. And fuck, man, I mean, this is funny as hell to me. and it's on bravadaclub.com. We also have a web YouTube channel, bravadaclub.com. Please subscribe to that. Please, 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 please subscribe to that. We did one video there about the car that I bought and I almost got ripped off for in a scam. So check that out. Really cool car, and yeah. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Hat Clark.
I love you like la 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 la.
I've worked hard over the years to cultivate my own gentlemanly aroma. Aromas such as that of a fine, aromatic cigar smoke and the rich, pungent, salty aroma radiating off of thick, beefy kings who populate gentleman's aroma. An aroma I like to refer to as that of a well-marbled, dry-aged beefsteak. And shout out to my boys, Ricky and Edwin, my brothers. I cannot wait to meet you in person and discover your own gentlemanly aromas and see what kind of alchemy results in the commingling of our own gentlemanly aromas.
I'm gonna shower extra hard tonight.
Okay, now that you've been introduced to Hat Clark, I have something here that is near and dear to our hearts. Since we started the club, people have been asking me for this hat. We have finally been able to make this hat. It's near and dear to me because my family were hat makers for 2.5 generations. So it's something that takes me back to my childhood, being in a hat factory. It's something that I know very well, and I'm really proud to be able to offer this exact medium brim fedora. I guess you could say it's a large brim, 2.5 inch. This is how it's gonna come packaged. Okay. Just so you guys can see what you're getting. First, we have a Bravada photo flag in here. This is cool. You can take photos of things on Instagram or just hang it up, do whatever you want with it, but it's pretty cool. Bravada photo flag. Then we have beautiful packaging as always. A little personalized note. And okay, so it's like a medium camel color, customized feather, customized pin. This is a type of merino wool that allows you to crush it and it bounces back to shape. It is certainly a sturdy hat. We've got our own brand, tags inside. This was made custom just for the members of Bravada Club. So I hope you all enjoy this hat. I know a ton of you have been asking me for this for a long time. I wanted to show you how it's packaged, how you'll get it, and I also wanted to introduce you to Hat Clark.
Ricky, I'm hoping, my brother, that your gentlemanly aroma is that of like a nice roast beef left on the counter for just a little bit too long, but in a way that is pungent, but you like the way it smells bad and it makes you feel happy on the inside, you know? And Edwin, my brother, I'm just imagining that you've got a great combination of a nice rich bourbon and gasoline that says, yeah, I operate heavy machinery after drinking.
I'm on.
So there's a question for you. When's Bravada Cologne coming out? From
Who asked that?
From Dan Wood.
Dan, you're a mind reader. So I have a friend who smokes cigarettes, and he stinks all the time. Shout out to DJ Chris Crisis. He smells like cigarettes all the time. And one day he got in my car, and he smelled good. And I was like, what changed? And he was like, I got this cologne. And I researched the cologne, and I researched the manufacturer, and I found out that this cologne makes smokers smell good. And we got the right recipe, and we will be coming out with a cologne that helps cigar smokers smell great. So you're on your way home back from the lounge, spray it on. You don't smell like shit anymore when you walk in to a non-smoker. At least you don't smell like cigars, right? And so that's the whole thing. You don't smell like cigarettes or whatever you smoke. And so, yeah, that's in the works, Dan Wood. I appreciate you, man. We're getting into our final third here. I'm getting bright apple and orange. Beautiful wood. I want to call it cedar, but it doesn't age in cedar, but it's very much like an apple cider vinegar brightness. Vanilla. The black peppers. It's always been black pepper and white pepper, but it's just a beautiful pepper twang tang thing. And then there are these florals that will knock your socks off. They're just great. And that's where the Dominican Republic really shines, in the florals. They really shine in florals and white pepper. Because as much as we think we all want black pepper all the time, you don't want black pepper first thing in the morning. You don't want black pepper all the time. Or red pepper. You want a good white pepper from time to time. And this thing is just hitting on all cylinders. It smokes as long as you want it to, apparently. We've been on here for an hour and a half already. Florals, wood, spice, just amazing. Jason, why? Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, from Daily Focus Gaming, they're asking, will there be a Bravada Cigar Club ashtray on the merch website?
That will probably be on the Bravada Cigar Club website. And we've had it, but it was so expensive then to make, pure steel, and the shipping then was cheaper, and it was a $250. I sold it for $125, and I made basically nothing on it. Now it would be like a $250 ashtray plus. It's beautiful. I can send you pictures of it, but it's not unless someone approaches me that knows how to make an ashtray out of a material that is made in this country and is cheap enough to ship out. It's 3 or 4 pounds, so.
Rock asks, what's the second cigar? So if you wanted to keep the night going, what would you smoke next?
Next would be the El Fiend, aka the Ophelia. It's her favorite cigar. It's a cigar that also was made by Chico Rivas. It will be out in the shop within a few weeks. It is a tiny little thing. It is the little guy that punches you right in the face. It is the finisher. That's why we call it El Fiend, the end. It is a 5 by 36 little coronita that will knock you out of your boots or something. And it is fantastic. That's what I would smoke next. If I didn't have that and I just had like a regular display of cigars, I don't know what I would smoke after this. This is apple cider vinegar. This is a real stimulation situation that's going on here.
So going from those like tasty notes, Blake Benjamin asks, how long did it take for you to be able to pull those notes out of cigars, those phantom flavors?
So after I started smoking for 6 months, and I learned what retrohaling was, I started to be able to actually taste cigars. 6 months later, I started to know what cigars I liked. And it probably took me about 2 years after that of heavy drinking and smoking to understand what cigars I really like and how to get the flavors out of those cigars. For you guys, that would be following along with the tasting notes. So you get your Bravada Cigar Club box and you follow along with the tasting notes, and then once those cigars are available on the site or at a local LCA shop, you buy more of those and continue to follow along with that thing. And over time, over years, you will be able to follow along with my tasting notes. But retrohaling is the key to that.
A question I have for you is, as you know, I've seen the cigars in the club get more and more complex over time. I was lucky enough to get in earlier when there were only like 4 or 5 tasting notes per cigar. For somebody who's starting out new, is there anything you recommend or any cigars you recommend for them to like try and train their palate to identify specific flavors?
No, I would just say like, okay, like join the club, get the tasting notes and the cigars, smoke them, find the one that you like and buy more of those and keep following along with those tasting notes. And then you'll start to be able to pick those things apart. And maybe even buy a few of the things that you didn't like and follow along with those tasting notes to try to get those things out of cigars. It's a little bit of work, but, you know, practice makes perfect.
I got a question from Mike in WPB,
Yeah, West Palm Beach, my brother.
West Palm Beach, asking what kind of coffee would you recommend with this cigar?
I would recommend an espresso with latte, a dark espresso, bitter espresso with twice the amount of froth cream or whatever. I don't know how that was, a flat white or something like that. I don't know what they call it. My wife knows it. But it would be an espresso with froth milk for this, a little bit of sugar, maybe a lemon rind around to add to that the citrus thing that I'm getting off of this now. So it wouldn't be just regular coffee with cream.
From Theron.
Darren, my brother.
Ball. Any thoughts on working with Ophelia to create the perfect pairing cigar with a tea or a coffee and then releasing them in pairs?
Yes. Yes. Short answer.
From Marcelo Semino, greetings from Brazil. Brian, what is the Bravada Cigar Club exclusive you're most proud of so far?
The Persian rug is probably one of the things I'm most proud of so far. You can't get a cigar like that anywhere else. The Cuban daiquiri, again, same factory. You can't get anything like that anywhere else. The Subterraneo box. If you're a Nicaraguan cigar lover, you cannot get. This is, I just can't express it to you guys enough. All of the Subterraneo are the best Nicaraguan tobaccos, the best Nicaraguan master blender, the best blah, 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 blah. This is Nicaragua at its fullest throttle, finest hour, 135 proof. This is the situation for that. And I guess I would say that this is probably something I'm extremely proud of from a Dominican standpoint. And then there's also Cigar One. Cigar One is meant to be like a Fuente 858, like the beginner thing. Like, I don't know what to get. What should I get? I guess I should get this. I don't have a humidor, and I don't know what to do. And those cigars are near perfect. So, yeah.
The Herf Locker asks, will there be a second volume of the Bravada Experience line?
Ken, yes. But I'm not in a rush. It's the most work I ever did to create a project, and I felt like it was ungratified. I'm just being honest. Some things you put out, I didn't think Explore was going to be that great. Everyone's going nuts over Explore. I thought Experience was going to be the shit, and only a few of you that are truly into cigars get Experience. So I'm not in a rush. When they sell out, yes, there will be more. I have a dozen other cigars that are supposed to go in it. I thought they would sell out in a month, and but it didn't happen. So thanks, Ken.
Sydney Gonzalez asks, is there anything coming up release-wise in the club that you're excited for us to smoke? In particular, I know you're...
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. It's just, from here, from the beginning of the year, it's just been, holy fuck, I can't wait to share this with these guys. So, everything. Bravada Spirits. I'm very excited to share that with you guys. Bravada Spirits is 5 different cigars made by a true master blender in Nicaragua that literally we sent them all the different spirits that we drink while we're smoking cigars and asked them out of 3 or 4 different master blenders to pair these cigars with these spirits, and this one person nailed it every single time, 5 out of 5. And we have Bravada Spirits that will be out this summer. Clark's looking very forward to that. Tequila, rum, bourbon, scotch, and one other, I don't know what I'm thinking of. But there will be 5 spirits that go along with this, and they'll be sold in liquor stores, and they're just fucking great cigars, especially when paired with those things. But you don't have to pair them. They're great cigars.
Dan Wood asks, is there any news about the Wraith Series, and is it still going smooth to come out around Halloween?
Yes and yes. Yes and yes. The packaging will be 10 times better than it was. It will be true collector series stuff. And you'll look back on the previous Ghost series like this was amateur hour, as far as not the cigars, but the packaging. The packaging's really going to elevate to the level of the cigars. And the cigar this year could end up being one of the best cigars I've ever produced. So. Wow, it's candied now. It's candied. It's sugar. It's Jesus. This thing is dynamic. It's dynamic. I was hoping to have another cigar after this, but I don't know, William. I don't know that anything else is going to be able to do this. This is candy apple. This is the state fair after this.
From Caitlin Petritis.
Oh, Bravada couple. Kidding me?
How do you keep making this magic happen? How do you keep one-upping each month with amazing cigars and blends? It's almost hard to keep up with since everything has been so amazing. Passion.
I truly love it. I love it just as much as you guys or more. And the blenders, you got to understand the blenders, and I think this is going to be our last question. I'm going to dip out after this. The blenders have been in a different business until Bravada. They've been in the business of satisfying orders. They've been in the business of a company ordering cigars from them, negotiating the price down to next to nothing, and then figuring out how they can fill that order with a reasonable enough cigar. Bravada changed the game in the sense that you guys are so passionate and so loud that they are in the business they wanted to be in from the beginning. This passionate, proud, culinary experience that makes them feel as though they're leaving a legacy in the products that they're giving us. And we're willing to pay more than the big companies, and we're willing to advertise them as the person making the cigar. And so that's why it keeps getting better and better and better. Also, my palate keeps getting better and better. And it's advertising for them. They're like, fuck, I want to be involved in that. I want to give you my best stuff because I know you guys are loud and proud. So that's, where it comes from. So I'm going to do half a shot here, 10-1. I can't imagine a better pairing with this particular cigar. This is the 10-1 Caribbean Dark Rum. It has been true to its tasting notes, and it is so close to the cigar, it's insane. So I recommend it highly. One more question?
Sure. What's your view of cigar bars? This is from MDJ677. What's your view on cigar bars? They say they either seem to be hookah joints or super prestigious places, and he's asking why can't they find something in between for average working people and professionals?
Because they're not for you. None of this has been for you. This is why Bravada is so successful, is that they're not geared for you. They were geared for 50 plus, 60 plus. Now, people that enjoy the nicotine buzz with their alcohol, and they've been geared towards selling cigars. This isn't about selling cigars. We're in a different space. And so we're going to create the next generation of cigar bars. And they're going to look a little more like speakeasies. And they're going to be very clear on what to pair cigars with. And hopefully Bravada will have a lot to do with that. But the entire industry was not geared towards us. This is why Cigar Public is so important. None of the cigar industry has been geared towards us in the past. And now is our time. And it's very important that you contribute to Cigar Public. It's very important that you become a part of the voice of this next generation that dictates what cigar bars, what cigar lounges, what brick and mortar look like in the future. So, one more question.
All right. See a lot of thank you.
Jeez, is everyone enjoying this cigar? Are you reading comments?
Yeah, everybody's loving it.
Are they loving this? Like,
Yeah.
This is outrageous.
Christopher Jackson asked, any
My man.
OG Good Life updates?
Yeah, Good Life's on its way. Members will get a torpedo that will knock your fucking socks off. It is as good as the original or better. And then LCA shops will get a Toro that is not as good as the first release, but as not the same as the second release. Not that the second release wasn't good, but this third release is in the middle of both of those. But the torpedo is as good as the original release. And so that's it. One more question.
Okay. From Juan Nugent, I'm sure I butchered your name, I apologize. Brian, what project have you had the most fun working on?
It's not out yet. There's a few of them. One is Serpents. The other is Raspberry Beret, which I'm making with El Titan de Bronze. And that's it. I'll do one more question. I'm at the nub of this thing, and it is fantastic.
From Jacoby Benjamin, any plans of Bravada coming to Savannah, Georgia, possibly LCAs or...
Jacoby, if you live in Savannah, Georgia, I'd like you to email me, because Savannah, Georgia is on my hot list of places that there need to be a Bravada Cigar Lounge, and I need someone as passionate as I am and as unique as I am to be able to pull this thing off. One more.
Big Rob.
My
Yoga,
brother!
Where's the goat cigar?
I have it. It's been aging a year. Do we want it? Do we want the goat cigar?
It's a question. I think it's great. It was fantastic.
It's out of this world. It's crazy because it's such a long cigar, but you smoke it and you're like, you feel as refreshed, you're ready to go for another one.
Yeah.
Anything else?
JC Trinity's asking about the ice cream cigars. Anything coming down the pipeline with those?
Look, we've gotten a lot of shit about, sorry guys. We've gotten a lot of shit about our branding, and we've decided, even though we've dumped a lot of money into packaging and the boxing for the cream cigars, to make it a legend of a cigar and not put it out in a traditional way. There will be shops that will be privy to it. There will be members that are privy to it. If you're a member of Bravada Cigar Club, you'll be privy to it. But that's it. It will be an underground thing for us. And so you'll have access to it if you're as active as JC Trinity is for, Bravada Cigar Club. You'll have access to it. Bravada Couple, I got you. I got a box coming for you. Trust me, you're in my mind. I gave one box away in Jacksonville yesterday to some very loyal Bravada members, and I look forward to sharing that with more of you. But I don't think that we'll be releasing that as a big release, because while we want to say fuck you, to everyone opposing us, we also want to respect the boundaries of cigars, and we don't want to bring heat on the industry. So we'll be muting out a lot of things. You'll be seeing a lot of blurred items on videos and things like that, and it'll be fun and nostalgic and cool, and if you're lucky enough to get some of this stuff, you'll be very happy. And that's it. I'm out, my friends. I predict me waking up at 4 in the morning, hungover, looking for Advil or pizza or both. And thank you guys for joining in on this with me. We will do more of this, except next time I predict even more of an experiential situation. Thank you all for supporting Bravada. You are we and we are you, and I love you guys. This would not be the same without you, so thank you.